Hi everyone. I'm Gabrielle.
And I'm Jason. And to start off with, the first thing we're going to say is that we are not nutritionists. So this is going to be based off of our experiences and her gluten free, dairy free allergy journey that we've gone through so far. Uh, Full disclaimer: I don't have any allergies like she does, but I do a lot of the cooking and a lot of the shopping, and over the last 2 years, we've done some research to kind of gather information, realize that it's really hard starting off being gluten free for a lot of people. I mean, a lot of times you go on websites, you Google stuff, you see celebrities that have nutritionists and chefs and everything, and they come up with all this stuff, and that's great. But everybody, every day, on a budget, has to be able to do this, and it's very hard to do. So,
And where do you begin?
yeah, exactly, and that's the issue. So, and that's what we've come up with. So this is just our experiences. We're gonna
And we
over the
hope to help you if you are dairy free, gluten free, soy free, or even keto, like how my husband's been doing.
yeah.
So
So there's
we're
a
just
lot
going
of
to share our journey, and we hope that our recipes and our experiences and our reviews of products that we have tried, numerous different ones, then it will help you to enjoy your cooking at home with gluten free, dairy free, soy free, and keto.
yeah. Kind of try to take the guessing game out of some products and stuff that and things that we've found that work, don't work. I mean, this is our experiences. Obviously, your stuff might be different. So, um, obviously, this is going to be our first video. We're going to kind of introduce things and how kind of we want this channel and everything to go. So, first, I kind of want to start with.
Wait, can I go? Okay, so I was just going to say that what I want to start with is, do you get a midday slump or a crash after you eat your lunch? And I have had many coworkers say, "Oh, you see a midday after lunch," and I'm like, "Oh, hey, how are you doing?" And they're just like, "Oh, I'm just tired after I eat." That commercials are even going to advertise, if you've seen any, where they advertise towards the midday slump, telling you, try this and this will help you through that midday where you just want to fall asleep or take a nap. But the real reason that you're feeling that way, it's the food. It's what you've just put into your body. What you are putting into your body is going to fuel you and give you energy. Now, here's a disclaimer that I'll say is if you didn't get sleep the night before, or you didn't get a lot of sleep, or you had interrupted sleep, or if you're sick, or if you have thyroid issues or health issues, all those are going to play into factor with how you feel throughout the day. But if you do get sleep and you are perfectly healthy that you know of, then what we are going to share with you through our podcasts will help you with knowing how to fuel your body with the food. Once you start paying attention to what goes into your body and you think of it as fuel, you're going to be surprised with how you may feel, because it's not normal to eat food and then you want to go to sleep after you eat. So go ahead.
Yeah, so kind of how this channel and everything's gonna be paired with is we're gonna have TikTok and Instagram. So bear with us on TikTok. We're very new to that. Instagram, Gabrielle's extremely experienced with, so hopefully we're gonna be leaning on her more for that.
But that's where that's where Jason will post his
Correct. We'll post
recipes.
recipes and stuff on that. So the format of this is going to be we're going to try every other week to do kind of like a little podcast talk about stuff, do some product reviews, things like that. Um, TikTok, Instagram, kind of periodically, at least once a week on one or the other to kind of give you an idea of what's going on. It might be a short little cooking video, short little, hey, maybe we're at the store and this is something on a label that screams gluten, even though it might say gluten free. So there's a lot of tips and tricks that we've gotten over the years, the last couple of years, especially through COVID, especially being home and having to cook and eat and everything. So
Lots of trial and errors that
trial and errors
hopefully,
that have affected her
yeah, and
stomach, eating.
yeah,
So
and hopefully my mistakes will help you not to have the same mistake.
yeah, so obviously gluten and dairy and all kinds of things, all foods affect everybody differently, and that's like the biggest thing. And it really is an experience. And you see stuff out there where it's like, hey, send in a saliva sample or a blood sample, and we'll test to see what you are, and we'll do something. And that's great. And like, kind of how this all started with her, and we'll kind of go back and forth, but essentially with our third child, while she was pregnant with our third child, Preston, the doctor noticed that she had some like hernias avail on there, and she went and got looked at, and it was how many was it? It was like 9 hernias.
So we knew going into having Preston that I was going to have an open C-section, and I had one big hernia right here by my belly button. And so we already had a hernia doctor there in the operating room to repair that hernia. And then while they had me open, I'm just laying there, while they're repairing me and taking Preston, and they start talking to Jason, and I'm like, what are they saying? Like, why are they taking so long with sewing me up?
Yeah, so there ended up being 9 hernias altogether,
And because
and
the doctor was asking him, oh, is she a vegetarian? And I'm like, why the heck does he want to know that? But at that point, I didn't know anything about anything with food. I didn't care what I was eating. I was just,
well, yeah, I mean, when you're pregnant, you
yeah,
kind of goes off, you kind of go based off what you
you
feel,
enjoy.
and yeah, she ate meat, and that wasn't an issue. She drank milk and did all that stuff while she was pregnant with all three of our kids, and she didn't have any issues.
But I ate junk. You eat what
But
you want to eat. And we're not talking about that.
but also like Gabrielle was always the person who was tired early. Like she would go to bed early, like 6 o'clock. I'm tired. I can't, and not get up in the morning. This was routine. Like she was just not a stay up. Couldn't was always tired. Like would always say, "Oh, I'm just tired. I'm
But
just
not
tired."
through college. Like you'd say, once I've had kids.
Yeah. Once she had kids, I was tired. I was tired. I was tired. And celiac, which I don't know if you're watching this, if you actually know, because everyone hears gluten free, and yeah, that's a diet, and
Or an
everyone thinks,
allergy. Can you explain that difference between like an allergy or
yeah.
having
So
celiac?
a lot celiac is an allergy.
Okay,
So
so being sensitive, gluten sensitive.
so celiac is an actually diagnosed disease. So it essentially is the cilia in your small intestine. When they touch gluten, they curl up and they can't absorb nutrients.
So normally your cilia are doing this, right? In your stomach. They're like moving around
Correct.
like they're in water, but they're really in your body fluids and stuff.
Correct. So those are what like nutrients come past them. That's what absorbs into your
And
body.
they suck it in
So
for your body.
celiac is kind of exactly what it sounds like. Is
Your
when
cilia. Keep going. I'm going to be the demonstrator. Okay.
so when wheat the gluten protein touches those, they're alert. It's an allergy, so they're allergic to them. So they curl up. So what happens is all those nutrients come past you, and they don't get absorbed into your body.
Yeah.
So splash back to the pregnancy. The doctor, in while he was doing the hernias, kept asking, "Does she eat red meat? Does she eat a lot of meat?" Does this? The doctor thought something else was going on, but in that case, obviously, after you have a pregnancy, they're focusing on the baby, they're focusing on recovery, that kind of stuff, especially with a C-section. So fast forward, I mean, she was again still tired. Like obviously, you just
you
had
have a
kids,
newborn. Yeah.
just had kids, you're going to be tired. It's what it is. And then I think how long was that? Like 2 years. Yeah, Preston's what,
So
6?
once Preston was age 3, we put him in preschool at the school that my boys go to. And then once he was in that school, then I was like, oh, you know what? I'm going to just volunteer and start working at their school. And I remember thinking, so 2 major moments where I thought like, okay, something is up. Well, the first one was I remember thinking when I was going to be working at the school, how am I going to make it through a day without napping? That was my first thought. How am I going to make it through without without being able to take a nap? And that should be never like a normal person's thought. So I remember being very worried about going through a whole day without napping. And then secondly, I remember being at his parents' house and sleeping and then waking up, having breakfast. And then at 9 o'clock, as soon as I was done eating, like 9 a.m., I told him, I was like, hey, I'm tired. I got to lay down on the couch and go to and sleep. And when I laid down on that couch is when I was like, something's not right. Like, why am I tired like this? And then I would work out. I'm still working out, but I would work out in the mornings and I would tell him, I'm falling asleep while driving home. Like in the mornings, I
Yeah,
would be like,
that's not a normal
I'm
thing.
falling asleep while driving home. And then once I did start working at the school, I remember being in the classroom and sitting there listening to the teacher trying to help the kids. But I remember just like going like this and just falling asleep and thinking I need some type of caffeine to wake me up because I can't stay
Well,
awake.
but even I remember you even telling me that caffeine, like you would drink coffee and everything, and it just wasn't working. Like
And then
pre-workouts, none of that stuff was working. So finally it was just, hey, let's go talk to a doctor. And
remember, it was when we had pasta for dinner and it was Barilla pasta. And after all of these, and then we had pasta and I had a bowl of it. And then after I ate it, I immediately felt sick. But I didn't have any of these symptoms. I was just noticing exhaustion. I didn't have like the feeling sick to my stomach or my stomach being out like I was 6 months pregnant until that time
correct.
when we had the pasta.
So her mom was diagnosed with celiac, and we've been tested, and she'd gone and got blood tests and initially when that happened, just so we can double check to see, make sure she didn't have it. And our boys had kind of been tested. They've done allergy tests. Bryson, our oldest, has. So it was kind of like, something's going on. We need to find out. So we finally had a decent doctor that I go to. So I had her go to it. And the first thing she said, like, let's do some blood work. And the initial blood work came back as she was anemic. So essentially low iron is what the doctor said. So also the doctor wanted to do a celiac test, an allergy test, see if she had possibly had celiac since her mom had it, possibly in the family, could be the issue, whatever. So obviously the iron panel, metabolic panel came back first. So basically what it said is that she was anemic. She had very low iron content in her blood. So I don't know if most people know, but iron really helps with your energy and essentially your being able to move and being tired and that kind of stuff. It's really one of the factors that helps that. So the doctor really recommended doing iron transfusions. So at the time,
because I was so low.
Correct. So at the time, like they were talking once a month. We checked with our insurance. Insurance doesn't really cover that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So because
where like they'd hook me up and put it inside my arm.
Correct. That's what a transfusion is.
In case someone didn't know though, because I didn't know what it was.
That's what a transfusion is. So we decided, hey, so when we're sitting down deciding this, it came back that she did have celiac. So to think critically on this, I was just thought, like, why let's hold off on the iron transfusions. What if we just do an iron supplement? And we talked to the doctor and we're like, hey, let's switch to a gluten-free diet and see how that works with the iron supplements. Yeah. And we did it for a month?
Yeah, like completely changed.
Yeah, we did it for a month. Completely changed everything. Eating, like I was a Nazi with it because I did not allow her to stop being ignorant and read stuff. So I started doing research, figuring stuff out. I knew a little bit, but it took a little bit of like really trial and error. So after a month, we went back, did another metabolic test, and her iron completely jumped off the chart. So it was right back in the normal range. So,
but I was taking 2 iron, and I still am. We're talking so we're just 2 years later. I'm still taking 2 iron supplements a day, plus a vitamin C, because iron and vitamin C, she said, help each other to work positively together inside your body to really get your body to absorb.
Correct. So we went gluten-free. So then obviously it was like finding out what, like we, at this time, she still was eating dairy, and then we started noticing like...
Still eating cheese, love mozzarella.
Yeah, so we started noticing that actually determining what the side effects, what happens when she eats. So like when she eats gluten bloats her. So she bloats up, gets tired, that kind of stuff.
My stomach would be out to here.
Correct.
Literally.
So then after like a month or two, a couple months, we started realizing that she was getting sick a lot. And we're like, okay, what's going on? So then we kind of determined that there's a possibility that she has a dairy intolerance. So,
and there's no real way.
There's not a real way to test that. There is, if you want to spend money for allergy tests. Yes, there is.
Okay, you're talking about like the scratch stuff, if they pin
you, kind of. You. So we just noticed that like dairy affects her in the way that it makes her weakens her immune system almost. So she was getting sick, she was getting sinus infections, that kind of stuff. So we cut and tired more. So we cut, which I think was just you being sick. So we cut that out, and since then, like, she goes to bed at decent time, at normal times. Normal, not just decent, normal times.
Yeah, like
gets up in the morning. What time do you get up in the morning now?
Like I can go to bed at 8:30, even 9.
She gets up and still gets up in the morning to go to the gym.
Yeah, 4:30. I'll wake up and go to the gym and fine.
So I think the synopsis of this is like she's been through a lot. We've learned a lot, and we're gonna kind of work on that. And I do a lot of shopping just because of time wise, and I'm more
it's intricate.
Yeah, and it takes time. Like, it's not, you can't just go do a 30-minute shopping and be like, I'm done. Like, you have to read everything because
you can't rush.
Like, even if something says gluten free, there could be trace amounts. There could be other items. Like, there's things like we're gonna start going. Like, I think our next one we're gonna talk about some hidden stuff. and we'll kind of like do episodes every other week on different things. But and it might just be her sometimes, it might just be me. But I think it's important to understand that one gluten. There's a lot of things that are misleaders.
And they'll say gluten free.
Yeah, a lot of stuff will say gluten free, but not certified gluten free, and that
Or
makes a difference. Or it'll say
made.
gluten free or made in a facility that processes wheat.
Yep.
Okay, well, what happened if the maintenance guy that day, or the guy who's in charge of cleaning, or the person who's in charge of cleaning, didn't clean that machine correctly? So now you got trace amounts in your food, and depending on how sensitive you are. So this is going to be a lot about sensitivity, allergies, but also like there's people who find that carbs and that kind of stuff really affect them and how they eat. And there are ways to reduce it and actually still have food that tastes good. Because I think that was her biggest thing is one, she's Italian, so pasta and dairy being out is a big issue. So we've experienced and played with some stuff. There's some good stuff out there. There's some bad stuff. There's stuff that just like a lot of times I think when people think gluten free, they think heavy and just sits on you, and we don't want.
And certain flours will do that.
And there are certain flours,
and we'll share those.
We'll share those through these as we go. So,
but there are some flours you can't even tell.
Yeah. So if there's questions, if you have questions, like we want to be able to reach out, like we're gonna.
What do they do? Just message?
Yeah, we'll have comments available. Like you can comment and on Instagram and take like all that stuff. So that's kind of where we're gonna go with this. Obviously, this is the first episode. It's kind of an introduction, but and this is based off of our direct experiences with these foods. And if you don't have these allergies and you want to eat gluten free, this is a good way to kind of start. Like, and what to read on a label, because we're not nutritionists. Like, we're not nutritionists. You're not probably a nutritionist. Like, how the heck do you know? And there's a million different diets out there. And I feel like when you go out to eat too, like we go out to eat, like that was our biggest thing. Like the questions to ask when you go out to eat, like it gets complicated. Like things have changed. So it's gotten better. Like more and more restaurants recognize the variance diets, but I think it's very important to kind of know what to ask for and what kind of things like. And there's alcohol. Like we'll even have a session on drinks, because there's a lot of gluten-free drinks out there. A lot of like, depending on what you like, yeah, if you like beer and you're celiac, I'm sorry, but
yeah,
there are options. There are options. Most of your seltzers, not all of them, keep that in mind, are not all. And there's vodkas and there's stuff like it's just asking. So
we'll get into alcohol.
We'll get all of that. So this is just our intro. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to comment, like, share. We're gonna start going this format once every other week, and then in between do some Instagram and TikTok. If it gets more of a good like turnout, people are interested, then we'll probably do more content. We want to start off, work our way into the big stuff. So,
but you're gonna love his recipes when we start posting.
Yeah, you'll be surprised. I create stuff, but I also like take other people's stuff and
morph it
into something to taste that she likes. And so, any questions, like, share, comment. Like I said, this is the first one, but we're going to be coming at you with a lot more stuff. So, hope you enjoy and have a good day.
And please share.